and welcome to Cultural Apologists React for today, September 27, 2024. This is an AI-generated pod based directly on the writings of the Christian cultural apologists discussed, but like all AI, it can make mistakes. In the news today, the situation between Israel and Lebanon continues to escalate. The U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, has advocated for diplomacy as the best way to create conditions for residents to return to their homes in Gaza. But Western diplomats express doubt that Netanyahu will agree to such a deal. Efforts by British leaders to secure a meeting with Israeli officials have been unsuccessful, possibly due to Israel's unhappiness over the UK's limited ban on arms exports. The families of hostages held in Gaza are pushing for any Lebanon ceasefire deal to include clauses on securing their release and the bodies of others. An Israeli airstrike on Thursday killed at least 11 people and wounded 22, including women and children who were sheltering in a school in Gaza. Hezbollah has vowed to continue fighting Israel as long as it continues its military operations in Gaza, but the ranks of the Iran-backed Shia militia have been battered over the past 9 days by coordinated attacks. The IDF says its aircraft struck 75 sites overnight across southern and eastern Lebanon on Thursday, while at least 150 rockets were fired from Lebanon at northern Israel. The death toll from Israeli bombardment has exceeded 630 people, with about a quarter being women or children. UK Defense Secretary John Healey urged President Netanyahu to heed the combined voices at the UN to agree to a ceasefire for 21 days, and said 700 British troops had been sent to Cyprus in case of an emergency evacuation. However, Hezbollah has not yet accepted the U.S.-French proposal, and U.S. officials say they do not expect the militia to be a formal signatory to any ceasefire deal. The domestic political repercussions of a ceasefire for Netanyahu were made clear when his national security minister said that his party would not vote with the coalition if the government agreed a ceasefire with Hezbollah. The leader of the opposition Democrats Party also argued against committing to a 3-week ceasefire, suggesting Israel should initially agree to a truce of a few days. The IDF has announced its troops have completed training drills near the northern border, simulating combat in Lebanon, and 2 reserve brigades were called up at short notice on Wednesday to deploy to the northern border. However, Haaretz described this as a relatively limited reserve call-up. Commentary. As the streets of Gaza lie in ruins, a haunting query reverberates through the shattered landscape. What is it that we truly covet? Do we crave mastery over others, or do we yearn for something more sublime? The calamitous consequences of Israel's assault on Lebanon and Hezbollah's retaliatory bombardment serve as a grim testament to our fundamental flaw. We have jettisoned the pursuit of true joy, opting instead for the transitory satisfaction of dominance over others. This is the very essence of turmoil, as described by C.S. Lewis in The Problem of Pain, a state of being bereft of peace and tranquility, characterized by an endless cycle of conflict and violence. We were crafted to live in harmony with one another, to love our neighbors as ourselves, and to find solace in the bonds that unite us. Yet we persist in prioritizing our own interests over the well-being of innocent civilians, perpetuating a cycle of destruction that threatens to engulf us all. The situation on the ground is nothing short of calamitous. Israel's military operations have resulted in a staggering death toll, with hundreds of women and children among the victims. The families of hostages held in Gaza are pleading for mercy, while Hezbollah vows to continue fighting as long as Israeli forces remain in Gaza. It seems we are trapped in an endless loop of retaliation and counter-retaliation, each side unwilling to yield. But what if we were to listen to a different voice, one that whispers of sacrifice and forgiveness? What if we were to heed the words of Lewis, who wrote in Mere Christianity that our desires often point us towards a higher reality? Might we discover that our true purpose is not to dominate or destroy, but to love and serve? The international community has come together to advocate for a ceasefire, urging President Netanyahu to agree to a 21-day truce. However, the domestic political implications of such an agreement are fraught with uncertainty. As we navigate this treacherous landscape, it becomes increasingly clear that our greatest challenge lies not in the external forces arrayed against us, but in our own capacity for compassion and empathy. The training drills conducted by Israel's IDF near the northern border serve as a searing indictment of the militaristic mentality that has gripped our world. We are preparing for war rather than working towards peace. The reserve brigades called up to deploy to the northern border seem like a mere formality, a testament to our refusal to yield. As we stand at this precipice, it is imperative that we choose a different path. We must put aside our differences and work towards a common goal, the creation of a lasting peace. Only then can we hope to break free from the cycle of violence and find solace in the bonds that unite us. For in the midst of turmoil, there lies a moment of clarity, a chance to rediscover what truly brings us joy and to forge a new future based on love and compassion, rather than power and control. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Cultural Apologists React. Be sure to come back tomorrow for a new take on the day's news from the standpoint of Christian cultural apologetics.